We often talk here on the show, don't we, about going to the movies, the golden days of Hollywood, the golden age of Hollywood, and when movie palaces really shone bright. And of course, if you were of a certain age, and some of us are who watch this channel, you may have queued up on a Saturday morning while your mum and dad had a bit of respite, while you went along to see your favourite serials, Flash Gordon, the Buccaneers, you know, things like that, Robin Hood, all of that sort of stuff. And they showed them, didn't they? And they sort of kept you entertained. I have to tell you, sadly for me, I was at the very tail end of going to the cinema. You see, you know, where that period where they changed them all into like multiplexes. So where there was a big cinema, there was now three, and it felt like you were sat in a sort of hen cage, didn't it? You know, totally uncomfortable, and you could hear next doors as well. Not a great thing, was it? But there you were. That was cinema. Now, of course, with the advent of cable TV came all of those wonderful nostalgia channels. There's many everywhere in the world. Some of the most famous, of course, are things like Movies Now over in the US, Decades TV, and possibly the biggest, TCM, Turner Classic Movies. I was lucky enough once to meet Ted Turner, the man that put all of that sort of thing together. A lot of people didn't believe him, you know, when he first started it, because they said there'll be no audience for these old movies, particularly things like the silent films and the movies of the 1930s and 40s and 50s. How wrong they all were, eh? He did incredibly well, and that channel became very successful. Now, though, quite a few people, in fact, got in touch on the comments asking me what did I know about TCM and what's happening now. Now, obviously over here in the United Kingdom, we don't actually get it. It's not a big thing over here, you know, we can get little bits of it online, but it's not as big as it is, obviously, across the United States. Now, it's been, shall we say, the brunt of cost cutting. Lots of their experts and people won't be featured. Now, while the company are basically saying, don't worry, you know, we're going to still show all the things that you thoroughly enjoy, that's not necessarily the case, because a lot of the shows, a lot of the experts, the insight, the interviews, lots will be repeated in this cost cutting exercise. But why has TCM decided to cut down? As ever, let me explain. It's quite simple, really. It's like a cost of living crisis, isn't it? You know, people can't afford to pay for cable. They don't get the ad revenue, and they're basically saying they can't afford to run it at the level they were running it before. A lot of people have asked me, you know, have I ever appeared on TCM? I had a very big meeting with them once, and, you know, showed them a lot of the pictures, the footage, exclusive content that they could have had, but they didn't really want to get it together. Let me tell you, they wanted it all for free. And these were exclusive interviews with many of the people that I've been lucky enough to meet throughout my career, interviewing major Hollywood stars. You know, the likes of Tony Curtis, Sid Charisse, you know, Judy Garland's daughter, all sorts of things. Really interesting topics, which, you know, one day we will get together and share with you exclusively first, and more importantly, free on this channel. But for all of those contacting me saying, you know, what is it about with TCM? It's a simple cost-cutting exercise. While all the bosses are basically saying right now, nothing to worry about, it's business as normal. If you are a fan of the channel, and it is brilliant, let me tell you, thoroughly enjoy it, the bottom line is that, you know, you will see more of the same, a lot more repeats than you have seen. But if you still like your classic movies, then clearly there's still a marketplace for that. And if enough people watch, a little bit like this channel, they will make more new content. And that truly is the bottom line with all of these cable TV channels. So, you know what you need to do? Grab an ice cream, some popcorn, get comfortable, and sit back and think you're in an Odeon, Gaumont, Regal, or, of course, if you really want to splash out, one of those brilliant movie palaces that were all around the beautiful places of America and the rest of the world, where going through those doors made you feel a bit like a movie star yourself. As ever, do let me know what you think to this particular story in the comments below. And more importantly, let me know, what are your favourite black and white films? Neil Sean in the very heart of London.